I must follow orders.
Just can't walk away, do you hear me?
I grew up in Belgium, and I was always dreaming of becoming a movie star, right? I was not very gifted physically, so I was the skinny guy in school. But I was not a trouble kid. I was an okay kid.
Well, I grew up in Sweden, you know, northern part of Sweden, a small village. Whereas actually, I was sent up there by my parents on, you know, because I was a bad boy in school when I was about 14.
I saw the TV and it was like a Western or a cowboy or whatever. And then I go on the sofa where you sit down, but I go to the back and I sit like this, you know, and I go, yeah, when I was on the TV. So I was crazy, I was a kid, I was dreaming.
Well, I think the man in Sweden at that time was definitely Clint Eastwood was a big, he was a big star, especially up in the northern villages of Sweden where everybody's, you know, got rifles.
Understand something, Belgium, it's not like Los Angeles. LA, when I land, I saw all those lights, like a huge pancake of light. I go, wow, this is fantastic, it's Blade Runner. Here we go down. Belgium, you land, it's nothing. It's like, I don't know about Oklahoma, but it's like a village. So I was depressed. I put myself into comic book, the Tintin, the Marvel comics, and I was dreaming about that. And then I decided to go to a gym, but when I go to the gym, I'm impressed because you see all those big guys that drop the weight. So I did go there like a kid. I became the kid of the gym, you know? And my father saw one day a TV show, the Kung Fu one, you know, with David Carradine, the Kung Fu TV show. And people in Europe, when they saw that show, they saw the philosophy of it, the protection. So he was thinking about me being alone, coming from school at the age of 11, 12, you never know. So he took me to a karate school because of that TV show.
I was about 13, 14, and I was a kind of a scrawny kid. It's the old story, it's true, but you know, that's the way it was. I was short and I was kind of, had a bit of asthma and I couldn't really do sports that well. So when I grew out of it, you know, and got a little stronger, I was looking for something that was different. A friend of mine did some judo, so I tried to take up judo for a while, but I remember I ended up with a big fat guy on top of me trying to choke me, and I said, Jesus, you know, guy hadn't taken a shower for a couple of weeks, I think, and I said, well, maybe I should try karate. At least you're a bit further away from your opponent. So I took up karate, and I was about 14.
Because karate, whatever, martial art is a weapon of the mind. I was training there as that small kid, but I felt every time I punched, wow, I felt like power, I felt like a conduction with the eye, with the mind. And I was able to break boards. I mean, at the age of 15, 16, clack!
I was doing a lot of training, a lot of martial arts training at the time when I was about 19, 20. So I did, you know, I was training about 4 or 5 hours a day and competing a lot.
And you do karate for 2-3 years, non-stop. 5 days a week, I was going from school, and then I ran to the karate school, and I did karate school. I did karate, but it was always the same routine with big, tall guys, and I was the skinny guy, so I was obligated to stretch to be able to reach those guys because they always push me around. So I decided to go to dance, ballet, to stretch, and also to have fun because it was a lots of beautiful girls there. I mean, they were like fantastic. I mean, you talk about a woman with grace, the shoulder down, beautiful legs, split left and right. You see all those long legs going in the air. So I was like attracted by the beauty of the movement. So I combined everything with karate, dance, and weights. And that made me what I am today.
I finally ended up competing for Sweden and fighting in Japan and Australia and here in London. All over the world, really. I did pretty well. You know, I did end up winning the national title and the European heavyweight title and Australian heavyweight title. And then, because my dad was a chemical engineer, my older brother was a chemical engineer, I ended up studying chemical engineering in college. I was interested in movies, but I kind of ended up go on the academic route.
I was very young when I fought competition, 16, 15, and you go, it's called like Coupe des Espoirs, the trophy of the hope. And all Belgium is coming. It's a 3-day competition where you have to wait around the 3 tatamis. And there's like thousands of, it just says like 1,000, there's 500, I got 500, it's 250, 125, and you go to the top. That was my first trophy. But I was very happy because I made 8 or 9 fights in 3 days, which is a lot. So when I came to the States, I came as a guy doing karate. I didn't speak English well, and I didn't know anybody. And the first time I was in the airport and the gate opened, I saw that limousine coming by with 2 wheels in the back. And I go, this is my country. That's America, it's a great country.
What happened was I got a scholarship to Washington State University. I went there for a year. From there I went back to Sweden, started doing chemical engineering, and finally got my master's in chemical engineering. 1 year was in Australia at the University of Sydney. So I was spent a year there on a scholarship. So from there, from Sydney, I was going to go to MIT in Boston. I had a scholarship there, a Fulbright scholarship. And I came to New York, about as far as New York, and of course, there's always a woman involved. And I met this girl, fell in love with her. She lived in New York. She was a singer. And sort of through her, I got into the entertainment business. I kind of got to see what it was like. And when I, took a look at that, I had 6 months off before starting MIT, and I said, I don't know about these test tubes. That's kind of boring in one way. I think maybe I should try something different.
It was very hard for 5 years because I didn't know anybody, and I was chasing producer, actors. I was sleeping here, sleeping there, using that room, this room. And suddenly a guy saw me. After a few meetings, I came to his office, and I waited for hours. I was hearing that guy making deals. He was not talking too much about the story of the movie, but more like a date and a this and a that, and his partner too. It was like Yoram and Menachem. So I did go to his office and I present a product. I said, look, I'm here for 5 years, or 6 years now, and it's not going well for me. I was really depressed, but I can do everything. And I took my shirt, I took a chair here, a chair there, and I did a split. And he was in his office, and he go, Karin, bring me Bloodsport. With his big tongue like that, a funny guy. He made me what I am today. That first movie gave me the chance to succeed.
I got called in for 2 big movies. One was Rambo 2, one was Rocky 4. The character was Ivan Drago, and there was one of those cattle calls, 5,000 people. It's one of those typical stories. I mean, it was a big line of guys, all big guys. I didn't even know what the movie was. They took one look at me and said, how tall are you? I said, 6'5", too tall. Next. But then I realized it was a Rocky movie. So I said, this is not, I don't think such a bad idea to pursue this. So I got a friend of mine, a photographer, who took some photos of me in boxing gear. And then I sent that off. A few months later, I was here in London, actually. Somebody called me from Paramount. Stallone wants to meet you. We want to fly you to LA. And that's when he explained to me was, his opponent, a Russian fighter. And we took some Polaroids, and he said, you got to gain some weight, Dolph. There was a final screen test when there was me and 2 other Russian guys left. And I'm there in my boxing trunks going, shit, this is really the big time. If I screw this up, this is it. So there were 2 other Russians, and they were yelling and screaming, and I was doing a bit of Clint. Yeah, it was a bit of a Clint, just standing there, just speaking very slowly and not moving too much. And it was pretty effective. So I think next day Sly called me, and I had the role.
2 territories about the movie, France and Malaysia. The movie hit in both countries #1. And I told them I'm gonna come to promote the movie, and I did. We did like demonstration, karate stuff. And me, I'm honest, on TV, I didn't know about promotion. So I said, I can do a better movie, it's a low budget. And when I called me on the phone, he said, idiot, you're not supposed to tell the people, you're supposed to tell this is a great movie, it cost a fortune, we shot for 6 months, I don't understand the promotion. And sorry, man, I was in New York, I didn't understand anything.
I went from this, shy Swedish kid and nobody knew to somebody who had to go on talk shows and being asked, how do you feel about, the political situation with Russia and President Gorbachev, how do you feel about what he's doing now? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, it was like, I'm still the same guy who was hitting the bag 5 months ago, you know. After I did Rocky IV, I was just lost, and it was like the world just went nuts because I was, you know, world famous, and you know, suddenly I was making a lot of money, and I was just a kid, 27-year-old kid.
You know, I was too young. I was 20 or 22, 26, I don't know. I was too young. I was a kid. When you get your first movie and it started to roll, to go for it. Then I didn't let go with the rope. I was cranking 2 to 3 movies a year. How can you do that? I mean, 2, 3 movies. It was like a factory. So I made those movies like that for 10 years. When one movie was finished, they were expecting me for a promotion. So I go promotion back to the movie. Thank God I was a beast with my health.
Those next 4 or 5 years was like nuts. I mean, I made a couple of good movies, but also it was very hard to sort of find your own identity and keep your integrity in that world.
My dream was, since I was young, I wanted to be in the film. Then when I reached a certain level, you know, it was a big pay salary, I didn't say, but okay, now I'm on the top, I've got the best hotel and this and this and that, but what am I doing? What am I doing? And then that guy came to my life. I didn't ask for him. He's like the Scorsese of Asia, you know, Ringo Lam. And he told me what's the movie about. He did a film with me called In Hell. I play a guy who's like on the ground, you know? So it was hard for me to change after so many movies to do a guy who's gonna get kicked and slapped and spin on it for 2 hours. And that helped me to become a better, what we call actor.
It depends on who the people are who come up to me. For instance, we're in London now, and you know, I go running in Hyde Park in the morning. Last week, I'm up there, and this, you know, detachment of the Queen's Cavalry come by. Sure as hell, the guys go, you know, I must break you, and if he dies, he dies, and all this stuff. And these are young kids, right? 20-year-old kids, and I don't even know how they recognize me because I'm, you know, I've got long hair and but obviously these movies, they do hit a nerve with, especially young males.
You know, my fans are coming to me, they always talk about, you believe it or not, Double Impact, Kickboxer, Bloodsport. They want to see me in those movies, you know, because I did such an impact there. It's like when James Bond did Sean Connery, took him maybe how many years to stay away and to come back with a Steven Spielberg as Grandpa. I know he's back as a sexy guy, but you never know in the business.
What's happening now is, well, I'm married, I got 2 kids, 2 daughters, beautiful daughters. We live in Marbella, Spain. I'm doing okay, actually. I've calmed down a little bit. Still working out, you know. I got a little bit of, few muscles left. The big thing in my career right now is directing, which is satisfying, and it kind of takes me to another level. My production company is Thor Pictures. Thor, you know, the God of War.
I'm still dreaming. We're gonna make the biggest martial art movie ever. I like it. You see a hand on the camera. Good.